All the talk before kickoff is Canada being tipped as the group leader and Switzerland as the group favorite, with top spot in Group B hanging in the balance. That kind of billing usually means a cagey opening. Both teams desperate to land the first statement without giving anything away early. We're still without an official score or live match action update for Switzerland against Canada at that 3:00 p.m. ETT slot, so we can't call any momentum yet. What you watch for early once it's confirmed underway is who settles in possession first and who blinks with the first loose pass.
Switzerland stays a narrow pre-match favorite in the highs, but the sell side is still stacked there. So the market's basically saying edge, not conviction. With no confirmed score yet, that points to a cautious opening where one early breakthrough would be the first real catalyst.
Still no official live feed confirmation on the score or even the opening phase for Switzerland versus Canada at that 3:00 p.m. EDT slot, so we can't call any patterns yet. Once we get the first verified update, the key is who lands the first clean spell of possession without gifting a cheap turnover. We're still waiting on any official confirmation that Switzerland versus Canada is underway, and we don't have a verified score or match phase yet. Until that comes through, all we can do is hold off on calling patterns and wait for the first concrete update. We're still in a holding pattern on Switzerland versus Canada. No official confirmation of kickoff match phase or score yet at that 3:00 p.m. ET slot. As soon as we get a verified update, the first thing to watch is who looks composed in the opening build-up and who forces the first mistake. Canada being back in Vancouver is a real storyline here. The broadcast is selling it as a comfort zone after that big win on this ground, and you can feel the expectation building before a ball's even been kicked. The key will be whether they start with calm, clean passing or let that pressure rush their first touches. We're still stuck without any official confirmation of kickoff match phase or even the score for Switzerland against Canada at that 3:00 p.m. EDT slot. Until we get a verified match state, we simply can't call momentum or patterns, just waiting for that first concrete update. Work flagging before kickoff. Ramon Abadi has the whistle with an all-Brazilian crew, and UN Soto is on bar, so those first couple of shoulder-to-shoulder challenges will matter. If they set a strict line early, both Switzerland and Canada will have to be cleaner in the box and smarter with contact. Switzerland's big pre-match headline is that selection shakeup for Murat Yekin, 4 changes, and a first international start at right back, which screams matchup-specific planning. If that new fullback gets tested early, you'll see immediately whether Switzerland are set up to sit in and stay compact or play their usual tempo. Switzerland's team sheet is fascinating here. Murat Yakin rolling the dice with a first international start at right back, and that's a position Canada will absolutely try to isolate early. If Canada can get their winger running at him 1v1, you'll learn fast how brave Switzerland want to be in their build-up.
The draw has the deeper two-way book, so it's lean Switzerland without real conviction. With no official kickoff or score yet, this is still pre-match positioning, and the first verified goal will be the real repricing trigger. Switzerland's still a narrow favorite, just under 4-0, but the sell side is stacked against them while the draw has the cleanest two-way depth, so conviction looks muted pre-kick. With no official score yet, the first confirmed match event is what will finally force this market off its cautious setup.
Canada's midfield changes are a real pre-kickoff storyline. When you reshuffle the engine room, your first touch and your first pass under pressure tell you everything about whether you can actually dictate the rhythm. And if Alphonso Davies is only a bench option, Canada may have to stay patient early and save that burst of pace for a decisive moment later on.
Swaziland's still a slim favorite in the highs. With Canada around 3 on the draw lows, and the offers are stacked across all 3 outcomes, so nobody's paying up yet. With no confirmed kickoff or score, this is still pre-match positioning, and the first verified goal is what will force a real repricing.
We're still flying blind on Switzerland against Canada. No verified kickoff match phase or score has come through yet, so we can't call the flow. Until we get that first official update, it's all about patience and not reading too much into any pre-match noise.
Switzerland stays a slight favorite, just under 4-0, with Canada around 3-0 in the draw on the lows. And the offers are still stacked, so nobody's chasing price. At 0-0 in the first minute, that's a market waiting for the first clean chance or early goal to force a real repricing.
2 minutes in, it already feels like a real chess match at 0-0. Canada want to go quick and vertical. Switzerland want to slow it down and keep the ball moving through that captain in the no slot. If Canada can step around that central hub and play past him early, they can stop Switzerland setting the tempo.
Switzerland are still a narrow favorite in the highs with a draw close behind, and Canada around 3-0, and the book remains offer heavy, so prices aren't being chased. At 0-0, 2 minutes in, that's a market basically waiting for the first real chance to justify any move.
2 minutes gone, still 0-0, and you can already see the clash of ideas. Canada won. That first forward pass early, Switzerland want to put their foot on it and run everything through the central playmaker. The big question is whether Canada can jump that midfield link and get straight at the Swiss back line before the rhythm settle.
Switzerland still shaded in the highs with Canada. Lows in the draw right there, but the book is stacked with offers, so nobody's paying up for conviction yet. At 0-0 on 2 minutes, that screams wait for the first clear chance before this market meaningfully reprices.
2 minutes in, still 0-0, and Canada have won a free kick on the left wing through Richie Larea. That's an early chance to swing one into a dangerous area and ask questions of Switzerland's back line before they settle into their passing rhythm.
Switzerland still edge it in the mid-seas with Canada and the draw both sitting in the lows, and the book is massively offer heavy, so price discovery looks capped for now. At 0-1 3 minutes, it's telling you the market won't budge much until someone creates a genuinely dangerous first chance.
3 minutes gone at 0-0, and it's already that tug-of-war. Canada trying to turn it into a straight-line game with early balls in behind. Switzerland desperate to get a few calm possession spells and slow the pulse. The next 5 minutes are about whether the Swiss back line can hold its height or gets forced to drop. 3 minutes in at 0-0, and Canada have won another free kick on that left wing. This time, Ali Ahmed drawing the foul with Luka Jacques, the one stepping in late. Switzerland have to be careful here. Too early cheap fouls out wide is exactly how you invite pressure without the ball.
Switzerland still hold a slim edge in the mids with Canada and the draw clustered in the lows, and the book is so offer heavy that any rally looks capped unless someone pays up. At 0-0 after those two early Canadian free kicks, a clean Swiss spell of control is what would justify the next uptick.
4 minutes in at 0-0, and Richie Larea gives away the foul. Switzerland win a free kick on the right wing through Luka Jacques. That's a cheap one to concede in a wide area, and Canada had to be careful not to keep handing Switzerland set-piece territory this early.
Switzerland still hold a slight edge in the mid to highs, but the book is extremely offer heavy across all outcomes, so any move higher looks capped unless buyers step in. At 0-0 this early, that pricing says the market needs a real Swiss spell of control before it rewards them. Switzerland are still a slight favorite in the highs, with Canada and the draw both lows, and the book is so offer heavy that nobody's paying up for conviction yet. At 0-0 in the 4th minute, that says this market won't really move until one side turns these early wide free kicks into a genuine chance. Switzerland still sit as a narrow favorite in the highs with Canada and the draw clustered in the lows. And the book is heavily offer stacked, so upside looks capped unless buyers get aggressive. At 5 minutes in, that pricing says one clean Swiss spell of control is the next thing that can nudge this market.
5 minutes gone, still 0-0, and the referee's clearly letting the early contact go. 2 or 3 pumps, a couple of fouls, but no rush to flash a card. That suits the team that can stay composed in the duels and not give away cheap wide free kicks.
Switzerland still priced as a slim favorite in the highs, but the markets offer heavy across all 3 outcomes, so nobody's really chasing a move yet. At 0-0 5 minutes in, that setup says the next genuine chance Especially a Swiss spell of control has to arrive before odds shift.
5 minutes in, it's 0-0, and it's Switzerland with the first corner of the night. Alistair Johnson forced to put it behind under pressure. That's an early low warning for Canada. Switzerland are already finding ways to get into wide areas and make you defend your box.
Switzerland still hold a narrow edge in the highs, with Canada and the draw bunched in the lows, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so any drift or pop looks capped. At 0-0 on 6 minutes, that fits a cagey opening where one clean Swiss set-piece delivery could be the first real trigger. Despite missing a live book snapshot, the tape shows chunky two-way interest. Switzerland pricing around the highs, with big sellers leaning against them, while drawn Canada money sit close behind. At 0-0 on 6 minutes, that kind of balance says one clean Swiss chance is what could finally force a real repricing.
7 minutes in, is 0 deck. Cornelius clips Brio in below, and Switzerland have a free kick in the attacking half. That's a dangerous area to concede in this early. One clean delivery, and Canada are suddenly defending their box again after that earlier Swiss corner.
Switzerland are still only a slim favorite in the highs, with Canada and the draw packed just behind, and the book looks very offer heavy, so any push higher should be hard work. At 0-0 on 7 minutes, that Swiss attacking free kick is the kind of moment that could finally force a proper repricing if it turns into a real chance.
7 minutes gone, still 0-0, and that Cornelius foul on Embolo hands. Switzerland slid. Set another set-piece platform in the attacking half. Canada's press has to arrive together. If the ball carrier isn't squeezed, Switzerland can tuck those fullbacks in and play straight to the space behind that high line.
Switzerland still sit a narrow favorite in the highs, with Canada and the draw clustered in the lows. And the book is stacked with sellers, so any move looks capped unless buyers step up. At 0-0 on 7 minutes, this Swiss attacking free kick is the kind of set piece that can finally force the first real repricing if it produces a clean.
8 minutes gone, and it's still 0-0, but Switzerland have left a couple set-piece chances on the table with deliveries that just don't clear the first defender. In a game this tight, one properly whipped ball into that Canada 6-yard area can flip the whole momentum.
Switzerland, still shaded, just under 4-0 with Canada and the draw in the low suns. And the book is massively offer heavy, so any move higher looks capped unless buyers get more aggressive. At 0 on 8 minutes, that keeps the pressure on Switzerland to turn these set-piece platforms into a real chance.
9 minutes in, and it's still 0-0, but that's the key for Canada. If you step up to press, you've got to get real contact on the ball. Carrier, leave Switzerland time and they'll slip it through you, especially with those fullbacks tucking inside and runners threatening the space behind.
Switzerland are still a slim favorite, just under 4-0 with Canada and the draw in the lows, and the book is stacked with sellers, so any lift looks capped without fresh buying. At 0-0 on 9 minutes, that keeps the spotlight on Switzerland to turn these early set-piece platforms into a real chance.
9 minutes gone, still 0-0, and you can feel that emotional edge around Canada when a teammates fall back from something as serious as a leg break. It sharpens the focus and tightens the group. The key is channeling that into controlled pressing, not cheap fouls,
and the
that hand Switzerland set-piece territory.
And the book is overwhelmingly offer stacked, so any rally looks capped, unless buyers get forceful. At 9 minutes in, that keeps the pressure on the Swiss to turn these set-piece platforms into the first real chance.
10 minutes played, still 0-0, and Canada can see another foul. Luke de Frugerales clips Johan Manzambi, and Switzerland have a free kick on the left wing. That's yet another set-piece platform in a wide area, and Canada are flirting with danger if they keep giving Switzerland these cheap restarts.
Switzerland still shaded in the highs with Canada and the draw in the lows, and the book is heavily offer stacked, so any odds move looks capped without a real buyer push. At 0-0 on 10 minutes, that makes this latest Swiss wide free kick the kind of moment that can finally force a repricing if it turns into a clean chance. Even without a live book, the tape shows heavy two-way flow, big Switzerland buyers around the highs, but even bigger sell pressure leaning against them, and chunky draw interest sitting in the lows. At 0.10 minutes, that balance means Switzerland needs to cash in on these wide free kicks to stop the market drifting back toward the draw. Switzerland still hold a slim edge just under 4.0 with Canada in the highs and the draw lows, and the book is overwhelmingly offer stacked. So, upside looks capped without a real catalyst. At 0 on 1 minutes, that keeps the pressure on Switzerland to turn these set-piece platforms into the first clear chance. Switzerland still sit as a narrow favorite just under 4.0 with Canada just under 3.0 and the draw lows, and the book is extremely offer heavy, so any lift looks capped without a catalyst. At 0.0 on 1 minutes, that puts the onus on Switzerland to finally turn these set-piece platforms into a real chance.
12 minutes gone, still 0, and Canada survived a real scare. And Bolo's right-footed effort from the middle is straight at Crepeau, who holds it cleanly. Switzerland are slicing through with that Rodriguez through ball, and Canada can't keep letting runners get it behind so easily.
Switzerland are still only a narrow favorite around 4.0 with Canada in the highs and the draw lows, and the book is stacked with offers, so any move up looks capped. At 0.0 after that envelope chance, the market's basically saying Switzerland need another clean look to separate here. Switzerland are still the narrow favorite around 4.0 with Canada near the highs and the draw lows, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so upside looks capped without fresh buying. At 0 on 2 minutes, that saved envelope chance hasn't forced a repricing yet, so the next clean Swiss look is the one that can finally move it. Switzerland are still a narrow favorites around the lows with Canada highs and the draw lows. And the book is still massively offer heavy, so any drift or pop looks capped without a real catalyst. At 0 on 3 minutes, that keeps the pressure on Switzerland to turn this early territory into the first goal.
13 minutes gone, still 0, and Canada are caught offside again. Saint-Laurent just strays beyond the line. That's twice now, and it's a little sign the timing on those early runs in behind Switzerland's back four isn't quite clicking yet.
Switzerland are still the narrow favorite at roughly low as with Canada highs and the draw lows is. And the book stays very seller heavy, so any odds tightening looks hard without a fresh chance. At 0.0 on 3 minutes, that puts the spotlight back on Switzerland to turn this early pressure into the opener.
14 minutes in and it's still 0-0, but Canada have already been pinged offside twice, with Laurent just leaning beyond that Swiss line. And you're right about the delay flag. Attackers have to finish the run and defenders can't relax. So the timing and the recovery sprint both get tested.
Switzerland still sit as a narrow favorite around 4.0 with Canada under 3.0 and the draw lows. And the market still heavily offers stacked, so there's no clean momentum move yet. At 0.0 in the 1/14th minute, that keeps the value of the first goal huge. Switzerland need a real chance to force the repricing.
15 minutes in at 0-0, and Ricardo Rodriguez gives away the foul for Switzerland. That's a little release foul for Canada after Switzerland's early moments, and it also slows the rhythm, just when the Swiss were starting to find Imbla with those sharper passes.
Switzerland are still a narrow favorite around 4.0 with Canada under 3.0 in the draw lows, and the book remains heavily seller stacked, so there's no clean push in either direction. At 0-0 in the 1/14th, that tells you the market's waiting on a real Swiss chance to justify tightening. Switzerland still prices a narrow favorite around 4.0 with Canada under 3.0 and the draw lows. And the book is massively offer stacked, so any move looks capped without a clear catalyst. At 0 on 1, 5 minutes, that little Canada free kick breeder matters, because if they settle and get territory, the draw price can stay supported. Switzerland are still a slim favorite, just under 4.0 with the draw in the lows and Canada in the highs, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so there's no real squeeze higher yet. At 0015 minutes, that Canada free kick pause helps keep the draw supported and lets Switzerland create the next clear chance.
15 gone still. 0-0, and Switzerland have just racked up another couple of fouls. Rodriguez first, then Jaquez handed Canada free kicks deep in their own half. That's exactly the kind of stop-start rhythm Canada will take right now to settle and push that lineup without being rushed.
Despite no live book stack shot, the tape shows chunky two-way flow, heavy selling of Switzerland around the low seas, alongside big buying down near the highs. With draw positions also getting worked. At 0-0 on 6 minutes, that reads like a market braced for a tight first goal rather than a clean Swiss runaway. Switzerland still edge it at about 4-0, draw lows and Canada highs, and the book is lopsided with heavy offers sitting above, so it's hard to squeeze prices without a real chance. At 0-0 on 6 minutes, that keeps the draw well supported while Canada use these stoppages to settle. Switzerland still shaded at about 4-0 with the draw lows and Canada highs, and the order book is still stacked with sellers, so there's no real squeeze in either direction. At 0-0 in the 170th minute, that keeps the draw firmly in play unless Switzerland turn that early threat into a clear opener.
17 minutes, still 0-0, and Brielle Embolo cuts in from the left and forces the save with a left-footed strike from inside the box. That's the clearest sign yet. Switzerland are finding him in those half spaces, and Canada's backline can't let him turn so easily.
Switzerland still shaded around 4-0 with the draw on the mid-sins and Canada highs, and the book looks very offer heavy, so there's no easy squeeze, higher without a catalyst. At 0-0 on 7 minutes, that Embolo save is the kind of moment that can finally force a Swiss Titan if they repeat it.
18 minutes gone, still 0-0, and Switzerland are doing exactly what they want here. Lots of patient ball, taking this thing out of the stadium. Canada's front line hasn't had clean service, and those early offside flats tell you the timing on the runs just isn't there yet.
Switzerland still sit a shade under 4 with Canada highs and the draw mids, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so there's no clean momentum squeeze yet. At 0-0 on 7 minutes, that keeps the draw well supported and lets Switzerland turn the Embolo chance into a real run of pressure.
18 minutes, still 0-0, and Canada win a free kick in the attacking half as Umet Vargas clips Matthew Choyinye. That's a rare bit of territory for Canada after Switzerland's last little warning shot. This delivery has to ask a question of that Swiss back line.
Switzerland still hold the edge at just under 4 with a draw on the lows and Canada highs, and the book is extremely seller stacked, so nothing squeezing tighter yet. At 0-0 on 8 minutes, that keeps the draw well supported and lets Switzerland turn that Embolo warning into sustained pressure. Switzerland are still only a slim favorite, just under 4 with the draw mids and Canada highs, and the book looks heavily offer stacked, so prices feel capped without a catalyst. At 0-0 on 9 minutes, that keeps the draw very live unless Switzerland turn that Embolo threat into another clear chance.
19 minutes, and it's still 0-0, but Canada win the free kick on the right. Rodriguez clips Buchanan, and then Buchanan's right-footed effort from the middle is saved. That's a real warning sign for Switzerland. Buchanan's finding pockets to arrive in the box, and they can't keep giving him those set-piece starts.
Switzerland remain a narrow favorite, just under 4-0 with the draw misses and Canada highs, and the book is still heavily offer stacked, so nothing squeezing tighter. At 0-0 around 9 minutes, that keeps the draw very live unless Switzerland turn their possession into the next clear chance. Switzerland still sit as a narrow favorite, just under 4 with the draw, mid-sends, and Canada highs, and the book is so offer heavy that any repricing looks capped without a big chance. At 0-0 on 20 minutes, that Buchanan save keeps Canada's upset line alive, but the market still wants Switzerland to land the next clean look.
21 minutes in, still 0-0, and Richie Lariah wins Canada a free kick deep in the defensive half. Canada will happily take that breather after the last couple of Swiss moments. Now it's about a clean first pass out and not handing it straight back.
Switzerland, still prized as a narrow favorite. Just under 4-0 with the draw mids, and Canada mids in the book is massively offer stacked. So any move looks capped without a catalyst. At 0-0 in the 2-1 St. minute, that setup keeps the draw well supported unless Switzerland turn the next spell into a clear-cut chance. Even without a live book, the big tickets are still split. Heavy Switzerland selling up around the low line, while sizable buying sits down near the highs. And the draw is being
21 minutes, still 0-0, and Brio Embolo is whistled for the foul on Richie Lariah, giving Canada another free kick deep in their own half.
So the next clear chance
That's a little reminder from Embolo. He's right on the edge of the game, and Canada will want to use this stoppage to get their shape up the pitch cleanly.
Switzerland are still a narrow favorite, just under 40%. With the draw mid-30s and Canada high 20s, and the book stays very offer-heavy, so nothing's breaking out yet. At 0-0 on 2 minutes, that keeps the draw priced as a real outcome unless Switzerland turn the next spell into a clear chance.
22 minutes gone and it's still 0-0, but you can see Canada's clearest look has come when they get it out to Buchanan early. If they can isolate him 1v1 and then get that late run from David into the box, Switzerland's back line finally has to turn and face their own goal.
Switzerland are still a narrow favorite, just under 4-0 with the draw mids and Canada highs. And the book is so offer stacked that any drift or squeeze looks capped without a real chance. At 0-0 on 2 minutes, it keeps the draw firmly in the conversation unless Switzerland turn the next Embolo-style moment into the opener.
23 minutes in at 0-0, and that hydration break feels absolutely timely under the roof here. Canada will want to use it to calm the decision-making and reset the timing of those forward runs because the sharpness has just been a fraction off so far. 23 minutes, still 0-0, and Switzerland's front line is staying much more central than we usually see from them. That pins Canada's center backs in place. Step out and you leave a lane. Hold your line and Embolo can recede and turn between you.
Switzerland still shaded just under 4-0. The draw sits mid, and Canada are highs, with the book still heavily stacked on the sell side, so nothing squeezing. At 0-0 on 2 minutes, that keeps the draw well supported, unless Switzerland turn this next spell into a clear-cut chance.
22 minutes and Switzerland are caught offside. Johan Manzambi just straying beyond the line as they try to slip a runner in behind. And now at 2-3, we've got a drink break. Perfect moment for both benches to reset the timing and calm the stop-start rhythm at 0-0.
Switzerland still shaded, just under 40% with the draw mid-30s and Canada high 20s, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so prices look capped. At 0-0 after the drinks break, that keeps the draw very live unless Switzerland turn the restart into a clear Embolo chance. Switzerland still shade just under 40% with the draw in the mid-30s and Canada high 20s, and the sell side depth is so heavy it's hard to get a clean squeeze either way. At 0-0 on 4 minutes, that keeps the draw firmly in play and the Switzerland turn the next envelope pocket into a real chance.
25 minutes gone and it's still Switzerland 0, Canada 0. Since that drinks break, it's been a bit stop-start and both sides will just want the next pass to be clean before they try to spring anyone in behind. 25 minutes gone, still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and that Swiss front line is staying really narrow with two bodies occupying the middle. It's forcing Canada's center backs to choose, step in and risk the space behind, or hold the line and let Embolo recede between them. 25 minutes, still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and that drinks break really has looked like a mini tactical huddle in this heavy heat under the roof. Canada's bench seemed to use it to reset the pressing triggers, while Switzerland looked calm and already comfortable, staying compact and narrow through the middle. We're back underway at 5 minutes, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada after that drinks break. You can feel both teams just trying to refine rhythm, keep the first couple of passes tidy, and don't give the cheap set piece in a game this stop-start.
Switzerland still citizen favorite, just under 4-0 with the draw mids and Canada highs. And the book remains heavily offer stacked, so any move looks capped without a real catalyst. At 0-0 on 2-6 minutes, that keeps the draw very live. Unless Switzerland finally turn this narrow shape into the opener.
26 minutes gone in Vancouver, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada, but that drinks break really did feel like a coaching moment for Canada. You could sense Marsh wanting controlled pressing triggers rather than everyone just sprinting as shadows, while Switzerland stayed ice calm and compact. 26 minutes, still 0-0, and you can sense Canada's bench demanding a smarter press rather than a constant sprint. If the burst man doesn't get real pressure on the ball, they've got to stay compact, because Switzerland will happily play through that first wave and find space inside.
Switzerland still edge at just under 4-0 with the draw mids and Canada highs, and the order book is so seller heavy that any squeeze looks muted, unless a real chance lands. At 0-0 on 2-7 minutes, that pricing says the market's still waiting for Switzerland to create the first clear opening.
27 minutes in Vancouver, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada, but you can see the little bit of gamesmanship creeping in around these knocks. Nobody wants to wave the physios on, because that forced minute off the pitch can hand the other team a free spell of control in a tight game. 28 minutes gone, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that press from Canada has to be a collective decision. If the first runner can't get proper contact on the ball, they've got to squeeze out and stay compact, not chasing singles, and leave gaps to play through. At 2-8 minutes, it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that injury protocol really does change behavior in moments like this. Even with the genuine knock, players hesitate to call the physios because that forced minute off can give the opponent a clean spell of possession.
Switzerland still sit a slim favorite, just under 4-0 draw mids and Canada highs. And the book remains heavily offer stacked, so any rally looks hard without a catalyst. At 0-0 on 2-8 minutes, it keeps the draw well supported, while this stop-start rhythm continues. Switzerland still sit a slim favorite, just under 40% with the draw mid-30s. And Canada high winties, and the book looks offer heavy, so any squeeze is getting capped. At 0-0 on 2-8 minutes, that keeps the draw price as a real outcome, and that Switzerland turn a clean possession spell into the opener.
28 minutes, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and you can't let that Swiss playmaker sit there picking passes at his own speed. Canada have to get touch tight in that pocket and force him to play first time, because one extra second on the ball is control for Switzerland.
Switzerland and the draw are still basically co-favorites in the high range, with Canada under 3-0, and the order book is massively offer heavy, so any upside move looks capped without a trigger. At 0-0 on 2-9 minutes, that pricing says the market's still leaning toward a KG first half, unless Switzerland finally land the opener.
29 minutes gone, Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and it does feel like the Swiss are dictating the rhythm right now. Canada can't let that key Swiss passer sit in the pocket and play with his head up. They got to get touch tight and make every reception a scrap. At 3-0 minutes, it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that injury rule is absolutely changing decisions out there. You can see why players hesitate to wave the physios on one forced minute off the pitch, can hand the other team a clean spell to settle and take control.
Switzerland and the draw are still basically co-favorites in the mid to high range, with Canada down in the high 2-0s. And the book is still stacked with sell-side liquidity, so nothing's squeezing. At 0-0 on 3-0 minutes, that keeps the draw as the cleanest live outcome, unless Switzerland finally turn control into the opener. Switzerland and the draw are still neck and neck in the high range, with Canada under 3-0, and the book remains heavily stacked on the sell side, so any move looks capped without a catalyst. At 0-0 on 3-0 minutes, that keeps the draw feeling like the market's default, while this tempo stays stop, start.
Half an hour gone, it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that Swiss front pairing is asking real questions of Canada's center backs. One checks in the feet, the other spins in behind, and Canada have to stay connected so they don't get pulled into two different fights.
The market's basically unchanged. Switzerland and the draw are still co-favorites in the highs. Canada sits in the highs.
32 minutes and Sal Laren goes into the book for Canada, the first yellow of the afternoon in this 0-0. That's a warning sign for Canada's front line. Now one more late challenge in your hand in Switzerland, cheap set pieces and a chance to settle on the ball. 30 minutes gone and it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, but you can feel the edge creeping into every little collision and complaint. The referee's next couple of calls are huge here. If he lets the delaying and the niggles run, this match can lose its flow in a heartbeat. 31 minutes on the clock, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and Mathieu Choyer gives away the foul. Granit Xhaka wins the free kick deep in the Swiss defensive half. That's exactly the kind of cheap stoppage that lets Switzerland. 32 minutes and Granit Xhaka goes into the book for Switzerland, and then Canada finally tests the keeper. Sal Laren's right-footed effort from the left side of the box is saved. That little flash from Malin is exactly what Canada need. Get into the area and make Switzerland defend facing their own goal. Still 0-0 at 3, 2 minutes, and those back-to-back yellows for Laren and Xhaka tell you the referee's trying to get a grip before it boils over. The next two free kicks and little delays are massive now. One soft decision and you can feel the temperature rise again. Still 0-0 at 3, 2 minutes, and Canada are absolutely trying to drag Switzerland into a spiky stop-start contest. Those back-to-back yellows for Laren and Xhaka show the referees already laying down a marker. If Canada can keep springing direct runs like Laren's, they can ask real questions of a Swiss back line.
By sell-side liquidity, so moves look capped. At 0-3 minutes, that keeps the draw as the market's default unless Switzerland finally
33 minutes, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that less Laren effort is the clue for me. Canada look at their best when they go early and run straight at those Swiss center backs. If you can isolate them with one or two passes, you force them to turn, and that's where the first clear chance might come. 33 minutes, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and Canada are clearly leading into that spiky stop-start edge after the double booking. The key now is discipline, one more needless niggle or delay, and you're handing Switzerland a set-piece platform to calm it down and play. 34 minutes, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and you can sense the flashpoints building around those quick free kicks and players standing over the ball. With Laren and Xhaka already booked, the referee's next couple of decisions have to be sharp or this turns into pure frustration. 34 minutes, still Switzerland 0, Canada 0, and Canada are caught offside again. Sal Laren just strays beyond the line. That's the risk when you're trying to spin in behind early. The timing has to be perfect, especially with Laren already walking a tightrope on a booking. Still 0-0 at 3-4 minutes, and you can feel those quick free kick moments turning into little flashpoints. Players hovering over the ball, tiny delays, and suddenly everyone's in the referee's ear. With Laren and Xhaka already booked, the next bit of gamesmanship has to be stamped on fast.
The market's still basically pin-drawn. Switzerland sit in the high range with Canada in the high seas. And the book is so offer-heavy that any pop should get capped quickly. At 0-0 on 3-5 minutes, that keeps the draw as the cleanest read unless Switzerland finally turn a set piece or spell of control into the opener.
35 minutes in, and it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada. But Canada's clearest threat is that quick two-pass punch into the channel. If they can spin in behind and run at those center backs, the timing of the runs has to be razor sharp to avoid another offside. 35 minutes gone, Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and discipline is absolutely the subplot now, with Laren and Xhaka already booked. In a game this edgy, one reckless off the ball clip or a late little tackle can swing it fast. Someone's got to keep their head. 35 minutes on the clock, and it's still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada. Into that Laren shot and the offside right after. Canada's threat is obvious. Early runs in behind, but the timing has to be perfect or Switzerland just steps up and kills it. 36 minutes, still Switzerland 0-0. Canada, and Canada's best look is that direct 1-2 punch straight at the Swiss center-backs before they can set their feet. But the runs have to be timed to perfection. One step too early and Switzerland's line just steps up and it's offside again. 36 minutes, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and that's exactly where Canada can hurt them. Win it! High. Then go straight forward with 1 or 2 passes before Switzerland's center-backs can get set. The big thing is the timing in the final ball. Too early and it's offside, too late and the window's gone. Foul by Richie Laya on Briel, Embolo, and Switzerland have a free kick in the attacking half at 7 minutes, still 0-0. In a game that's already had 2 bookings, that's a needless one to give away. Switzerland will fancy a set-piece swing here.
We don't have a live book snapshot, but the tape shows chunky two-way flow in Switzerland and the draw, which usually means prices are staying range-bound rather than trending. At 0 round 3 6 minutes, that fits a match where one clean Swiss set piece could be the first real catalyst. Prices are still pinned with Switzerland, and the draw clustered in the high range and Canada mids, and the book is stacked with sell-side liquidity, so breakouts look capped. At 0-0 in the 370th minute, that Swiss free kick is the kind of single moment that can finally force a repricing.
38 minutes and Granit Xhaka goes for goal straight from the free kick, left-footed from distance, but he drags it wide, and Switzerland can't make the set piece count. That was the warning shot, though. Canada can't keep giving away cheap fouls in that zone at 0-0.
The draw is still the market's top line, just under 4-0 with Switzerland, a close second in the mids and Canada down around a quarter. And that offer-heavy book suggests any move gets sold into. At 0-0 late in the first half, it keeps the game price for a tight, low-margin spell unless Switzerland finally nick the opener. The draw is still the slight market favorite. Just under 4-0, Switzerland sits in Canada mid-seas. And that heavy offer-side depth says any rally likely gets capped without a real catalyst. At 0-0 in the 3H minute, it's still priced like a tight half unless Switzerland turn the next set piece into the opener.
38 minutes and it stays 0-0 as Granit Xhaka lashes the direct free kick from range, but can't keep it down and it flies wide. That's exactly the kind of cheap foul Canada can't afford to concede in that shooting lane.
The draw still leads just under 4-0 Switzerland. Sit mids and Canada around a quarter with the book massively offer heavy, so any drift or pop should get sold into. A 0-0 in the 3 cheats the market leading to a cagey half unless Switzerland finally land a set piece breakthrough. The draw is still the top price around 4-0, Switzerland, sit mids in Canada, highs. And the book remains heavily offer stacked, so any move should get sold into quickly. At 0-0 approaching halftime, that keeps the market leading to a stalemate unless Switzerland finally convert a set-piece spell.
39 minutes still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and you can feel the appeal starting to creep in after every bit of contact. With Loreen and Xhaka already booked, the referee waving play on a couple of times could either calm this down fast or wind it up before halftime.
The draw still leads around 4-0 with Switzerland, mid-send, and Canada highs, and that offer-heavy book says any little swing is likely to get sold into. At 0-0 in 39 minutes, the market's basically pricing a tight run to halftime unless Switzerland finally make a set-piece count. The draw still sits as a slight favorite around 4-0 Switzerland, close behind in the mids, and Canada mids, with the book still heavily stacked on the sell side, so moves look capped. At 0-0 on 4-0 minutes, that pricing says we're still set for a tight jog into halftime, unless Switzerland finally land a set-piece breakthrough.
40 minutes gone, still Switzerland, 0-0 Canada, and Canada win the free kick on the left through Ali Ahmed after Fruller clips him. The set piece breaks to Alistair Johnson outside the box, but he can't keep the right foot strike down, and it sails wide.
Draw stays the slight favorite around 4-0 Switzerland, mids in Canada highs, and the order book is still massively offer heavy, so any uptick should get sold into. At 0-0 on 4-0 mids, that keeps the market leaning to a cagey run into halftime rather than a late first half breakaway. Market pricing is basically unchanged. The draw still leads around 4-0. Switzerland sits mids in Canada highs, with a big wall of offers likely to cap any quick spike. At 0-0 in the 4-1 save minute, that keeps the halftime stalemate as the cleanest read, unless someone lends a real chance.
41 minutes gone and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, but Canada are starting to slip into those little pockets between midfield and defense, and the crowd can feel it. If they do win that first corner, the delivery and the second ball could be their cleanest route to a breakthrough. 41 minutes still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and Kobel has just pushed away a sharp Ali Ahmed right footer from the left side of the box. Jonathan David again the provider. That save forces Canada's first corner, and it's a real chance to make this late first half pressure count.
The draw is still the market's top line in the low range, with Switzerland mid-sends and Canada highs, and the book remains heavily offer stacked. So any little pop looks capped. At 0-0 on 4, 2 minutes, that pricing is basically betting this pressure fizzles into halftime without a breakthrough.
42 minutes and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, but you can feel Canada growing into this late spell. Ahmed and David are finding those little pockets and getting shots away. That first corner and the second ball around Kobel's spot could be Canada's best route to a first half breakthrough.
The draw still tops the board around 4-0 with Switzerland in the lows and Canada in the highs, and the book is overwhelmingly offer heavy, so any spike looks capped. At 0-0 on 4, 2 mids, that fits a market expecting Canada's late pressure to fade into halftime without a goal. The draw still leads in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada highs, and the book is so offer heavy that any quick repricing should get capped. At 0-0 on 4, 3 minutes, that keeps the market leaning to a scoreless halftime unless Canada's pressure finally turns into a clean finish.
43 minutes still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and Ruben Vargas concedes the foul. Luke de Boujroles earns Canada a free kick back in the defensive half. That's another little flashpoint and a half that's already had bookings, and the referee will want this restart taken cleanly and quickly. 43 minutes still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and you can feel Canada finishing this half with a bit more bite. Ahmed and David are finding those little pockets and forcing Switzerland to defend, facing their own goal. If they can win one more dead ball delivery before the whistle, that might be the cleanest route to a breakthrough. 44 minutes on the clock, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada. But Canada have definitely found a rhythm in this late spell. Those little pockets for Aitzmont and David are opening up, and that first corner tells you Switzerland are being forced to defend their box. Now,
pricing is basically steady into 4 minutes. The draw still leads around the lows. Switzerland sits lows, Canada highs, and the book is still heavily offer stacked.
We're at 4 minutes and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, but Canada have had to make a change with Mustachio feeling his hamstring and Schreiner coming on. Right before halftime, they can scramble your set piece assignments, and Canada have just started to make corners and dead balls matter. 45 minutes, still Switzerland 0, Canada 0, and Canada have finished this half on the front foot, squeezing Switzerland's backline deeper and deeper. The key after the break is whether Switzerland can step out and get their midfield connected again, or keep getting dragged into defending their own box. 44 minutes, and Jonathan David has just dragged a left-footed effort wide from the left side of the box. Tejan Buchanan, the provider. Canada are getting him into that channel again and again, but the finish just isn't matching the build-up yet. Still 0-0 at 4 or 5 minutes, and Canada have definitely started to find those little pockets just outside the Swiss box. Ahmed and David getting looks and forcing Kobel into work. Second half, Switzerland have to push their lineup and reconnect midfield, or Canada will keep living in that zone.
The draw is still the market leader in the low range with Switzerland, mids, and Canada, middies, and the book remains stacked with sellers, so any late tick higher should get capped. With stoppage time ticking at 0-0, that pricing is basically calling for the whistle to land with the stalemate intact.
We're into 4-5-1 at 0-0, and Canada really are finishing this half with more bodies closer to Switzerland's back line, making it awkward for the Swiss to play out cleanly. If that squeeze carries into the second half, Switzerland may have to step higher and get their midfield closer to the forwards. 45-1, and it's a corner to Switzerland. Canada's Matthew Choyer, the one who's had to concede it, and we're still locked at 0-0. Massive moment in stoppage time. Now Switzerland will want real first contact here and make this delivery count before the break. 45-1, still 0-0, and it's a corner for Switzerland right on the edge of the break. After Canada's late squeeze, this is Switzerland's chance to relieve the pressure, win that first header, get the line out, and reset before halftime. Still 0-0 at 4-5-2, and the Alphonso Davies talk is getting louder if he's even close to fit. That late burst down, Canada's left could be the one thing Switzerland can't match in a tight game. You can already see Canada's wide runners starting to ask questions as we head toward the break. We're at 4-5-3, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada and Alphonso Davies. Question is hanging in the air. If he's genuinely fit enough to get minutes, that straight line pace down the left could be the one change of gear in a match this tight.
The draw is still the clear favorite in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada middles, and that sell side depth looks like it's capping any late first half repricing. At 4-5-3 and still 0-0. The market's basically leaning to the whistle arriving with the stalemate intact.
45-3, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. And you can feel Jonathan David growing into this. He's already been involved in the best Canadian looks late in the half. In a game this tight, that little bit of confidence in the box can turn one half chance into the moment. 40+3, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Well, you can sense Canada tightening the net around Switzerland's midfield link-up late in this half. If they keep getting bodies close and denying that first clean pass forward, it could swing the open spell after the break.
The draw is still the market's top pick in the low range, with Switzerland in the lows and Canada midsus, and the book remains heavily stacked with offers, so any late tick looks capped. At 4-5-3 and 0-0, that pricing is still calling for halftime to arrive with the stalemate intact.
45+4, and it's a foul by Brill for Switzerland, right on the edge of halftime with it still 0-0. That's a needless one in stoppage time, and it hands Canada a chance to sling one last ball into the danger area before the whistle. 45-4 and still 0-0, and that late Imbolo foul just underlines how tight Canada have been getting around the ball. When your forwards are tracking back and winning those little duels, it only takes one quick break, a one set-piece delivery to tilt this before halftime. Halftime at 4-5-4, Switzerland 0, Canada 0, and it's ended with Brill giving away a foul right on the whistle. Canada's had the cleaner looks laid on through Ahmed and Jonathan David, and Switzerland will want to calm that down when we restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0, Canada. Canada looked a lot calmer after that early wobble, and you could see it in the way they started, finding passes through the middle. The second half feels like it hinges on whether they can keep that composure and turn those late half looks into a real chance. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0, Canada 0. Canada did look steadier after that early wobble, and those late moments, Ahmed forcing a save and David flashing one wide, hint they can hurt Switzerland if they keep playing through midfield after the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0. Canada definitely stayed themselves after that shaky start and finished the half with the sharper looks. After the break, it's about whether Jonathan David and the wide runners can turn those moments into real chances, or if Switzerland isn't, slow it down and keep the crowd quiet.
the draw is still the frontrunner in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada mids, and the book stays seller heavy, so any quick move looks capped. At halftime, at 0-0, that pricing says the market expects a tight, low-margin second half rather than an early breakout.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. And you can feel Canada settling. As that half went on, heaping it a bit more and asking questions late. After the restart, it's whether those Ahmed and David moments become sustained territory or Switzerland grab back control and pin them in again. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and you can feel Switzerland will be happy. They're taking the edge out of the occasion. But Canada finished the half with more composure on the ball, and that Abed save plus David's miss hints. The rhythm after the break is everything. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0. Canada and Switzerland will be satisfied. They cooled the early emotion and kept the crowd from lifting. Canada finished the half with cleaner moments. Ahmed forcing Koba into a save and David just wide, so that composure could decided after the restart.
We all have the live book, but the big tickets are split. Size showing up both for Switzerland and against them, which screams uncertainty rather than a clean drift. At 0-0 at halftime, that fits a market waiting for the second half tempo to declare itself before repricing hard.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada. And that work rate from Jonathan David is a real marker for Canada's mindset. When your striker is winning free kicks in his own half and putting tackles in, it keeps the team compact and sets up that first transition after the restart.
At the break, the draw still leads in the low range with Switzerland lows and Canada midsues. And the book is stacked with sell offers, so upside moves look capped. With it, 0-0 at halftime. That pricing says the second half stays tight unless someone lands the first punch early.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada ended the half with the clearest sights of goal. Ahmed tested Kobel and David dragged one wide, so Switzerland will want to tighten those wide channels when we come back out.
We still don't have the live book, but the biggest tickets are a tug-of-war, heavy Switzerland backers around the high area, and even bigger against Switzerland size up in the low suways. So conviction is split at 0. At halftime, that kind of two-way risk says the market's waiting for the first real second half swing before it reprices. At halftime, the draw still tops the board in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada mid-OAs, and the book is stacked with sell-side depth. That should cap any quick spike. With it, 0-0. That pricing implies a KG restart unless someone lands an early breakthrough.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. The last few minutes summed it up. Canada had the sharper looks, but Switzerland's still in it, and will be looking to tidy up those wide areas when we restart.
At the break, the draw still leads in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada middens, and the book is heavily offer stacked, so any quick rally looks capped. With it, 0-0. At halftime, that pricing points to a tight restart, where the first goal would finally force a real repricing.
Halftime at 4-5-4, Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and it's been a cagey one with Canada finishing the half with the better sights of goal. That Kobel save from Mahet and David's dragged effort are the moments Switzerland will be talking about as they reset.
At the break, the draw still leads in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada mids, and the order book is heavily stacked on the sell side. With it, 0-0 at halftime. That setup says the market expects a tight restart unless Canada turned that late first half pressure into the opener. At halftime, the draw still leads in the low range with Switzerland in the lows and Canada mid-zoos, and the book is lopsided with sell offers that should cap any quick rally. At 0-0, that pricing says the second half stays cagey unless Canada turn those late chances into the opener. Draw stays the market leader in the low range with Switzerland lows and Canada midsues, and the book is still offer heavy, so any quick pop looks capped. at 0-0. At halftime, that pricing screamed a cautious restart, and thus Canada turned that late half momentum into the opener.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and you sense Canada will be the more frustrated side because they did get those quicker breaks into the box. But Colbell's save from Ahmed was a reminder if Canada don't finish cleanly, Switzerland will happily slow this right down after the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Those last chances for Canada, Ahmed forcing Colbell into a save and David pulling one wide are the clearest warning signs, and Switzerland will want to shut down that left channel when we restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada, and that late Canadian break really captured the story. Quick into the box, but Colbell made himself huge and demanded a perfect finish. If Canada keep hitting those transitions after the restart, the final touch has to be cleaner. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. The clearest moments before the break came from Canada. Ahmed forced Colbell into a low save, and David pulled one wide. So the second half is about turning those flashes into a proper finish.
The draw still prices the front runner in the low range, with Switzerland lows and Canada mids, and the book remains heavily offer stacked, so upside looks capped. At 0-0, at halftime, that keeps the pressure on Canada to turn those late chances into the opener.
Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have had the cleaner looks through Ahmed and Jonathan David, but Switzerland will feel they've managed the risk and kept this one tight going into the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have had the sharper moments late on, but Switzerland will take comfort from Colbell's save and the fact they've kept the box protected when it really mattered. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Those late Canadian moments, Ahmed making Colbell work and David just pulling one wide, are the clearest reminders that the next pass into the box has to be sharper after the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada had the cleanest sights of goal late on, but Switzerland have kept their shape and Colbell's been solid when he's been asked. Second half feels like it'll turn on one moment of quality. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have had the clearer openings, but Switzerland will be pleased. They've ridden out that late spell and kept it tight around their box going into the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have had the clearer looks, but the finishing touch hasn't been there, and Switzerland will be happy. They've kept it tight and taken the sting out of those late breaks. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have shown they can get in down that left side, but the final action hasn't quite matched the approach play. Switzerland will feel they've survived the clearest moments and can reset. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada's had the more threatening moments late in the half, but the finishing hasn't matched the approach play. Switzerland will be happy they've stayed compact and kept Colbell's workload manageable. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have asked a sharper question with those two late chances, but Switzerland will be satisfied. They've kept it compact, and Colbell's dealt with what's come his way. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada did have those late sights of goal, but it's still all about the final touch. Switzerland will be pleased. They kept it controlled and taken this into the break level. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Those late Canadian moments forced Colbell into action, and then David dragged one wide. So the restart feels like it's all about who finds the cleaner final touch in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada have just about had the clearest sights of goal, but that last action in the box hasn't been clean enough yet. Second half is begging for one composed finish. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Those late moments for Canada, one saved, one just wide show. The openings are there, but the second half is going to demand a calmer final touch in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada have had the sharper looks late on, but it's been that final touch in the box that's let them down, while Switzerland will be happy they've stayed compact and got to the break level. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Those late Canadian sets of goal were the clearest moments of the half, but the finishing hasn't been sharp enough yet. Second half feels like it'll turn on one clean decision in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. The clearest moments came late for Canada. Colbo had to save from out high than David, then pulled one wide, so the second half is crying out for a cleaner final touch. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Those late Canadian looks show their space to work with, but neither side has produced that one really clean finish yet. Second half feels like it'll hinge on composure in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. The clearest moments came in that late Canadian spell, but it's still missing that one clear strike on target to turn good approach play into a goal. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. After that late Canadian spell, Ahmed forcing the save and David pulling one wide, you just feel the first goal after the break will come down to who's cleaner with the final contact in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada fares the half with the clearer sights of goal, but the execution in the box hasn't matched their approach play yet. Second half needs one composed finish to tilt it. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada had the sharper looks right before the break, but it's still that last touch. One save, one drag wide that's keeping this level heading into the second half. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. That late Canadian spell was the closest we got to a breakthrough, but the finishing touch just wasn't there. Second half needs one moment of real composure in the box. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada had the clearest sights of goal late on, but Colbell stood firm, and David couldn't steer his chance inside the post. This one's waiting for a cleaner finish after the break. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada had the clearer moments right before the break, but Colbell saving that drag finish kept it scoreless. Both coaches will be demanding sharper decisions in the box after the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's still Switzerland. 0-0 Canada. Canada did at least ask the sharper questions late on, forcing Colbell into a save and then dragging one wide, but it's been short on real end product so far. And we are back underway for the second half. Switzerland 0, Canada 0. After that late Canadian spell before the break, the first 5 minutes here feel massive. Can Canada get runners around David again, or do Switzerland slow it down and reset their control? Halftime here at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada had that late corner and David's left-footed effort that drifted wide, while Switzerland will feel they've got to be cleaner with the fouls and set-piece defending after the restart. Halftime at 4-5-4, and it's Switzerland 0-0 Canada. Canada had the clearest look late on with Jonathan David dragging that left footer wide, and Switzerland will want to tidy up those late fouls that handed goal. Switzerland's Citizo minutes, and it's Ruben Vargas. Right foot finish to the middle of the box, and Switzerland strike instantly after the break to lead Canada 1-0. That is exactly the kind of central close-range chance you can't allow the moment the second half kicks off. Switzerland lead 1-0 just after the restart, and Canada have to turn that frustration into a higher press immediately. Get bodies around Jonathan David quicker, win it back in midfield, and make Switzerland defend facing their own goal for once. Switzerland has struck at 4-6 minutes. Ruben Vargas finishes from the middle of the box, and it's Suard Twa. Canada talked about stepping higher, but that first moment after the restart shows the risk. If the midfield line isn't tight, Switzerland will play straight through you. Switzerland lead 1-0 at 4. 7 minutes after that lightning strike from Ruben Vargas, and now Canada's whole game plan has to tilt forward. The press has to be coordinated and immediate because every rush regain they miss just opens up counter space for Switzerland to attack. Switzerland lead 1-0 at 7 minutes, and that restart goal is a brutal lesson for Canada. If the center backs in midfield aren't talking and opening up to see Vargas run, Switzerland's direct forwards will keep slipping in behind. Canada's press has to go together or they'll get played through again. Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 7 minutes. Mubeges striking right after the restart. That's pure direct play. One early ball, one sharp run, and Canada's back line just doesn't open up or talk early enough to see the danger. Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 8 minutes, and that Vargas goal is the blueprint. Early ball in one decisive run and a clean finish from the middle. Canada had to get their back line talking and opening their body shape because if they step up without that, Switzerland will go straight down that channel again. Switzerland are 1-0 up at 8 minutes, and that Vargas goal is the purest direct football. Early ball, one sharp run, simple finish. Canada can press higher, but the back line has to talk and open their body shape first. Otherwise, Switzerland will keep finding that same lane in behind. Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 8 minutes, and now Canada really are chasing this. You can feel the bench becoming a factor soon. Fresh legs to win that central duel and finally free Canada for proper one volleys, but push too hard and Switzerland will gladly counter into the space. Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 8 minutes, and you can sense Canada's bench is going to matter. Now they're going to get a grip on those second balls in midfield. If that central zone stays loose, Switzerland will happily let Canada step on and then punch straight into the space behind.
Switzerland has snapped to roughly 2/3 win probability now with a drawdown in the mids, and Canada near 1-0, and the book looks offer heavy above those levels. At 101.49 minutes, that's the market saying Canada need an equalizer soon, or Switzerland's price will just keep firming. Switzerland are holding around 2/3 to win, with Canada down near 1-0 and the draw is, and there's still a lot more sell side and buy side sitting above the market. At 101.49 minutes, that pricing says Canada need a quick equalizer to stop Switzerland's odds from tightening further. Switzerland are still priced around 2/3 to see this out, with Canada stuck near single digits and the draw in the mid, and the book looks heavy with offers above. At 101.50 minutes, that's the market rewarding game control. If Switzerland keep the ball and kill transitions, the price should keep firming.
Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 5 minutes, and that goal has handed them a lovely platform to run the game through midfield. If Canada don't get tighter in the middle and disrupt the main passer, Switzerland will just keep switching and picking the gaps as Canada push up. Switzerland lead 1-0 at 5 minutes, and you can see them quite content to take the sting out of it now, circulating the ball through midfield and switching it to the fullbacks when they step high. Canada have to get right on the central passer because if that lane stays open, Switzerland will keep finding the gaps. Switzerland are 1-0 up at 1 minutes, and you can see them settling into that rhythm now. Midfield taking charge, moving Canada side to side, and then popping it out to the fullbacks when they go high. Canada's quickest fix is to get someone touch tight on the main passer and break that first clean ball.
Switzerland are still priced at roughly 2/3 to win, with a draw in the mid-seas and Canada down near single digits, and the sell side depth looks stacked above the market. At 101.50 minutes, that's the book back in Switzerland's control. Canada need a clean equalizer to force any real repricing. Switzerland are still priced around 2/3 to win with the draw in the mid-sins and Canada down near 1-0, and the sell side is stacked, so upside looks capped. At 1-5-1C, that's the market basically saying Canada need an equalizer soon, or Switzerland's price keeps tightening.
Free kick to Canada on the right wing at 5-1 minutes. Ruben Vargas, the goal scorer this time, giving away with a foul on Alistair Johnston. This is a real set-piece moment now. Canada can load the box and ask Switzerland's back line a direct question while they're protecting that 1-0 lead.
Switzerland are still priced around 2/3 to win with. Canada stuck in single digits and the draw in the mid-sos, and the sell side looks stacked. So any drift higher gets met quickly. At 1:05, 2 minutes, Canada's next goal is the equalizer that would force the only real repricing. Switzerland are still priced around 2/3 to win with Canada in single digits and the draw in the mid-seas, and the sell side looks stacked. So any drift gets met quickly. At 1:05, 2 minutes, Canada's next goal is the equalizer. That would force the only real repricing.
Switzerland still lead. Canada 1-0 at 5, 2 minutes. And Canada's big problem is that central passer is getting far too much time to put his foot on the ball and dictate. If they don't get someone touch tight in midfield, Switzerland will just keep switching it and making Canada run.
Switzerland are still sitting around 2/3 to win, with Canada down near 1-0 and the draw midsays, and the book is massively offer heavy. So there's little room for a Canada-led squeeze. At 1:05, 3 minutes, Canada need an equalizer fast, or this price just keeps tightening as Switzerland manage the clock.
Switzerland still lead. Canada 1-0 at 5, 3 minutes, and they're looking pretty comfortable now, keeping it, switching it, and finding those fullbacks high and wide to drain the crowd. If Canada want a foothold, they've got to get much tighter on Switzerland's main midfield passer and stop those diagonals at source. Switzerland still lead. Canada 1-0 at 5, 4 minutes, and Canada are clearly still fuming about that man Zombie Tumble under Johnson with no penalty given. Those moments linger. Now every Canadian tackle has to be perfectly timed because Switzerland will invite the contact and keep the ball moving. Switzerland still lead. Canada 1-0 at 5, 4 minutes, and it feels like they're dictating everything through that central passer. Time to look up, switch it, and hit the fullbacks high and wide. Canada's press is getting a bit frantic now. They need a calmer spell on the ball just to reset their shape. Switzerland still lead. Canada 1-0 at 5, 4 minutes, and you can feel Canada's press starting to get a bit ragged as Switzerland keep it moving. Canada might need a reset here, either fresh legs in midfield or just a calmer spell of possession to build a proper pushback into this.
Switzerland are still priced around 2/3 to win with the draw in the mids and Canada down near single digits, and the order book is overwhelmingly sell side above the market. At 1:05, 4 minutes, Canada need an equalizer to force a real repricing.
Switzerland lead. Canada 1-0 at 5 minutes, and Canada's press is starting to look a bit frantic as the passes keep going astray. They need a calmer spell of possession to reset because Switzerland are quite happy just to keep it moving and make them chase.
Switzerland's still trading around 2/3 to win, with Canada pinned in single digits. And the draw mix in the book is heavily offer stacked, so there's not much room for a squeeze. At 5 minutes and 1-0, that's the market. Daring Canada to find an equalizer before Switzerland's control tightens. This further.
Free kick to Canada in their own half on 5 minutes as Johan Manzambi clips Derek Cornelius. That's a handy breather for Canada to get bodies up the pitch and turn it into territory because Switzerland will happily slow this down at 1-0 if you let them. Canada are 1-0 down at 5-6 minutes, and you can feel the panic creeping in as those forward passes keep breaking down. If there are changes coming, it's got to be about calming that press and getting someone on the ball to stitch a proper move together. Switzerland at 1-0, up at 5-6 minutes, and they look really comfortable now, zipping it around and then dropping that occasional long ball in behind to drag Canada's center backs out into the channels. Canada's press is starting to feel like pure mileage at some point. They've got to drop, breathe, and pick the moment to jump.
Switzerland still priced around 2/3 to win, and the book is extremely offer heavy above the market, so any wobble is getting sold into rather than chased. At 5-6 minutes with Switzerland 1-0 up, Canada need an equalizer soon, or this just keeps grinding tighter as the clock runs. Switzerland have tightened right up into the high bass to around 9 to win, with Canada basically written off and the draw down near single digits, and the offers are stacked above the market. At 105 6 minutes, that's the book saying Switzerland can keep killing this with possession unless Canada land an equalizer quickly.
Switzerland still lead, Canada 1-0 at 5-7 minutes, and you can feel Canada crying out for a reset here. The passes are getting forced and the press is turning into a sprint session, so fresh legs might be exactly what they need to get someone on the ball and actually build an attack.
Switzerland's win price has snapped tighter after that 5-7 second goal, while the Canada comeback line has blown out sharply in the market. At 2-0 down with just over half an hour left, Canada now needs a near-perfect spell just to make it a contest again.
Switzerland lead Canada 1-0 at 5-7 minutes, and you can see Canada's bench getting busy now with players warming up and the coach looking for a spark. If the changes come, it has to be about calming those forced forward passes and getting someone to hold the ball before Canada go hunting an equalizer. We've just gone 2-0, Switzerland at 57 through Manzambi. Give us the immediate market repricing and what it says about Canada's comeback chances now.
Switzerland are now priced in the low zones to win, with Canada down around a couple of percent and the draw still only single digits, and the bid depth is clearly concentrated on the Swiss side. At 2-5 minutes, the market's basically saying Canada need the next goal quickly, or Switzerland just sees us out on control.
Triple change for Canada on 5-8 minutes. Eustachio is on for Chouanier, Malara replaces Ahmed, and Oluwasi comes in for Laren, with Switzerland still 2-0 up at 5-9. That's a clear signal they're trying to inject legs in direct running because they've been punished badly since the break. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 5-8 minutes, and Canada can't keep acing on those forced forward balls because it's just feeding Switzerland's direct runs into the channels. Canada need a calmer spell, pressing waves and get earlier crosses in to give their forwards something real to attack.
We've got chalky money still leaning Switzerland, with a couple of six-figure tickets on the Swiss win and only scattered size trying to fade it or back the draw. At 2-0 on 5-9 minutes, that flow says the market expects Switzerland to manage the tempo and shut the door. Switzerland are holding in the losses to win, with Canada effectively at a penny, and the liquidity is still concentrated on the Swiss side, so there's no real squeeze brewing. At 2-5 minutes, Canada need the next goal soon just to reopen the draw and make this market flinch.
Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 5-9 minutes, and Canada's best route back looks like going wide earlier and getting proper numbers, crashing the box for those crosses. But they've also got to stop being dragged into the channels by Switzerland's forwards, because that's where the central gaps keep opening up. Free kick, Canada deep in their own half on 5-9 minutes as Will Imbolo catches Tajon Buchanan late. That's a cheap foul to give away at 2-0 up, and it hands Canada a moment to push their lines up and try to turn this into territory.
Switzerland are priced in the mid-shuries to win now, while Canada is basically down at a penny and the draw is only a few percent, with liquidity still clustered on the Swiss side. At 2-0 5-9 minutes, Canada's next goal is the only thing that realistically reopens this market. Switzerland's win line is basically locked in the low to mid-Z's now, with Canada priced like a long shot and the draw only a few percent, and the book still looks heavily offer stacked. At 2-6 minutes, Canada need the next goal fast, or Switzerland just bleeds the clock and the market barely moves.
Canada have rolled the dice with that triple change at 2-0 down on 5-8 minutes, and now it's about whether Eustachio can get them some composure on the ball. Switzerland looks so comfortable after that Manzambi goal, and Bula linking it in the front line, playing with real confidence. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 on 6-0 minutes, and you can see why. That front line is pressing in sync, and they're making Canada's center-backs panic whenever the ball drops, awkwardly. For Canada, it feels like set pieces and early wide deliveries might be the clearest route back into this. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6-2 minutes, and that front two are hunting as a pair every time the ball drops or bounces. Canada's center backs look rushed into a clearance. For Canada, it's starting to feel like corners, long throws, and early wide balls are the cleanest way to ask a question. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6, 2 minutes, and Johan Manzambi has done it again with that second half finish to put real daylight in it. You can sense the swagger now. Switzerland's front players are combining quickly and making Canada's defenders make decisions at full speed. Back-to-back Canada quarters on 6-1 minutes, and they've actually forced the issue. Malas' header blocked in the middle, then Cornelius has a left foot swipe blocked as well. At 2-0 down, that's the route. Hit bodies in the box and make Switzerland defend second balls. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6, 3 minutes, and Canada's push is coming. More through corners and long throws than any clean openings in open play. When you're living all set pieces like this, it's all about the second ball and who reacts first at the top of the box. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 on 6, 3 minutes, and Canada's best momentum since that triple change has been pure set-piece urgency. Long throws, corners, and scraps for a second, balls. If they're going to make this interesting, they've got to turn one of these dead ball moments into a goal fast, because open play hasn't cracked Switzerland yet. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 on 6, 3 minutes, and Canada's best spells coming from corners, long throws, and those early wide deliveries since Liam Millar came on. Switzerland won't mind that pattern at all if they keep clearing the first contact and squeezing the second ball. Foul by Nathan Saliba on Granit Xhaka, and Switzerland win the free kick in their own half at 6, 3 minutes with a 2-0 lead. That's exactly the kind of needless giveaway that lets Switzerland slow it down, reset their shape, and take the sting out of Canada's set-piece momentum. At 6-4 minutes, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and you can feel Canada's best hope is coming from corners, long throws, and those early wide balls since Millar stepped on. Switzerland will gladly live with that if they keep winning the first header and squeezing the second ball to kill the next phase. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6-4 minutes, and that Xhaka zone in front of the center backs is the control room right now. Canada have to get someone tight enough to stop him turning and picking the next pass. Otherwise, Switzerland can just keep resetting and draining the clock. Canada are still 2-0 down on 6-4 minutes, and their only real lip has been that set-piece surge since Millar came on. Corners, long throws, bodies crashing for second, balls. Switzerland won't panic if they keep winning the first contact and then let Xhaka slow it all back down. 64 minutes, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and we've got a little burst of fouls. Either way, Larea earns one deep for Canada, then Imbala wins one back in the Swiss defensive half. That's exactly the kind of stop-start rhythm Switzerland will welcome right now, just taking the edge off Canada's momentum. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6-5 minutes. And Canada's best spark since the changes has been Liam Millar winning corners and forcing those messy second balls rather than slicing them open in open play. For Switzerland, it's simple now. Stay composed, win the first contact, and let Xhaka and company slow the rhythm right down. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6-5 minutes, but Derek Cornelius has been a real stabilizer in this spell. Time tackles, brave blocks, no panic. For a defender short of club minutes after injury, that sharpness is exactly what Canada need just to stay in the game. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6 minutes, and it is that awkward scoreline where one Canada goal suddenly turns the last 2-0 into chaos. Since the changes, it's been corners, long throws, and Millar forcing second balls, while Marsh is on the touchline demanding a response. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6 minutes, and Canada's big tactical job is to get someone right on that Xhaka in that pocket in front of the center backs. If he keeps receiving on the half turn, Switzerland can just recycle, slow it down, and manage this game to the finish. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6 minutes, and Manzambi staying down puts everyone in that awkward gray area Canada can play on, but it's a flashpoint. If Switzerland feel the game's being disrespected, this is where the referee has to set the tone quickly, calm it down, and get the restart right. Switzerland are 2-0 up at 6-7 minutes, and it's turning into that stop-start kind of second half with little fouls and a bit of treatment slowing everything down. Canada have got to stay composed and string a few passes together because this rhythm suits Switzerland perfectly right now. With Switzerland 2 up at 6-7 minutes, that Manzambi injury moment is exactly the kind of flashpoint that can sour a game if the restart isn't handled cleanly. Canada aren't obliged to put it out, but the referee's next couple of decisions will either cool it down or crank the tension right up. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6-7 minutes, and Canada do look a bit rattled right now. If they're going to make the last 2-0 meaningful, their big names have to start winning those duels and actually lean on the Swiss center backs. Make them defend facing their own goal for once. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6-8 minutes, and you can feel Jesse Marsch itching to roll the dice again from the bench. Canada have to bring on someone who'll win first contact and actually lean into those duels because this stop-start rhythm is letting Switzerland manage the game too comfortably. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6-8 minutes, and the talk on the Canada bench is whether to throw on Alphonso Davies for a late cameo. If he's anywhere near ready, that raw pace down the left is the one thing that can change the feel of these last 2 minutes. 68 minutes, and it's another corner for Canada. This on one is Aldea has to concede under pressure. Canada are basically living on set pieces right now, so Switzerland's center-backs have to win that first header and kill the second ball before it turns messy. Switzerland are 2-0 up at 6-9 minutes, and the track now is dropping 5 yards too deep and letting Canada just puck corner after corner into the mix-up. The Swiss have to keep stepping out to win that first header and squeeze the second ball, not just camp on their own 6-yard line. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 6-9 minutes, and that Manzambi stoppage is exactly the kind of moment that can light a fuse if one side feels disrespected. Canada can play on unless the referee stops it, but the next restart has to be managed cleanly to keep a lid on it. At 6-9 minutes, it's still Switzerland 2-0, Canada, and you can sense Jesse Marsch scanning the bench for one last change to spark something. If Alphonso Davies is fit enough for even a short cameo, that burst down the left is the one thing that can jolt the league back into Canada. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 6-9 minutes, and Canada's best spells coming from corners and those quick balls whipped into the danger area. Switzerland cannot get passive here. Win the first header, then squeeze the second ball because one scrappy goal changes the whole. Last 2-0. 68 and 6-9 minutes, back-to-back corners for Canada, El Dadi, and then Vargas forced to concede them, and it's still Switzerland 2-0, Canada at 7-0. That's Canada's clearest route right now. Keep piling set pieces into the box and hope Switzerland lose that first contact just once. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0 at 7 minutes, but Canada are finally getting a foothold through corners and those quick whipped balls into the 6-yard area. The Swiss can't afford to sink onto their own box now, win that first header, and step out for the second ball. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0 at 7 minutes, and that stoppage debate has clearly lit a fuse. If the ref doesn't stop it, Canada can't expect a free kick out, and tempers rise fast. The danger for Switzerland now is letting that frustration turn into a messy spell of corners and second balls. 71 minutes, Switzerland still 2-0 up, and it's a foul by Alistair Johnson for Canada, another cheap stoppage that hands the Swiss a breather. At this stage, Canada can't keep giving away free kicks. It just lets Switzerland reset and manage the clock. 71 minutes gone, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and that since the foul is exactly the kind of cheap stoppage Canada can't afford when they're finally getting corners and momentum. Switzerland will be delighted with that breather. Now step out, win first contact, and don't let it turn into a set-piece siege. 72 minutes gone, and Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, but Canada are finally making it feel like a proper spell with corners and quick balls into the area. The Swiss have to keep stepping out and winning that first header. If they get pinned on the 6-yard line, it turns into a siege fast. 72 minutes gone. Switzerland still lead. Canada 2-0. And that hydration break really does cut right across Canada's best spell of the match. The restart is everything now. Can Canada get straight back to those whip balls and second balls? Or do Switzerland use the pause to step out and reset their line? 72 minutes gone. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0, and that hydration break has absolutely chopped Canada's best spell in half. The restart is huge. Canada need to get straight back to those corners and whip balls, while Switzerland will want to step out, win first contact, and calm it down. 73 minutes gone. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and Canada's rail back is still those wide balls and set pieces. But Switzerland are reading the service brilliantly right now, winning first contact and throwing bodies in for the key blocks, so Canada have to vary it and be sharper on the second ball. 73 minutes gone. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and you can sense Canada thinking about rolling the dice with changes after that hydration break. If they're going to make this a finish, it has to be earlier, cleaner service into the box, no extra touches, just get it wide and whip it in. 71 minutes, and it's Ricardo Rodriguez winning a free kick deep in the Switzerland half, and then we've got the drinks break stopping everything at 2-0. That's perfect game management for Switzerland right now. Slow it down, reset the line, and make Canada restart their momentum from scratch. 73 minutes, Switzerland still lead, Canada 2-0, and with no fresh incident to bite on, it's all about game management now. Canada have to find a cleaner final ball without kicking cheap fouls, because every stoppage just lets Switzerland reset and drain the clock. We're into the 7/4th minute, and Switzerland still lead. Canada 2-0 with the game settling again after that drinks break. Canada have shown they can win corners and get crosses in, but they've got to make the next delivery count. Switzerland are clearing the first ball too comfortably. 74 minutes on the clock, and Switzerland remain 2-0 up over Canada, with this one settling into a controlled spell after that drinks break. Canada's had moments from corners and crosses, but they need a bit more precision and pace on the next ball into the box. 74 minutes gone. Switzerland lead Canada 2-0, and Canada's best threat has been that quick uptick in tempo to win corners and sling balls into the box. But the Swiss center backs are eating up the first contact with blocks and headers, so Canada made to change the angle of the delivery and be first to the second ball. At 7/5 minutes, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0, and you can see 74 minutes, Switzerland make a change. Sylvain Widmer is on for Luca Jacquins with the Swiss 2-0 up over Canada. That feels like a tidy game management switch, fresh legs, and a bit more security out wide as Canada keep trying to sling balls into the box. 75 minutes gone, and Switzerland are still 2-0 open. You can feel how they're owning that midfield zone. Happy to keep it and then suddenly slip it down the channel when Canada steps up. Canada had to speed up the final pass now, more direct and earlier into the danger area, or this will just drift away.
Switzerland is trading in the mid-stirs to win with Canada, basically priced as a 1% long shot, and the draw sitting low single digits, so the market's treating this as close to settled. At 7-8 minutes and 2-0 Canada, need the next goal immediately to make this feel live again.
75 minutes played, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-0. 75 minutes in a double change, Switzerland bring on Sylvain Widmer for Luca Jacquins, and Canada respond with promise. Data replacing Tajon Buchanan, still 2-0. Ow! That's fresh legs on both flanks. Switzerland shoring up the wide areas. Canada gambling on a more direct runner for this last push. Goal for Canada on 7/6 minutes. Promise David, right winner from the center of the box, and it's Switzerland 2, Canada 1 now. What an instant impact off the bench, and suddenly every Swiss clearance and second ball in this last quarter hour is going to feel absolutely massive.
Switzerland is still priced in the mid-busies to win with the draw in the mid-teens in Canada, down in the low single digits, so it's steady rather than a fresh squeeze. At 7/5 minutes and 2-0, the only real way this market jolts is if Canada nick the next goal fast. Switzerland are still the clear favorite around the low bosses, but that's a bit softer than the mid-30s earlier with the draw, now in the mid-teens, and Canada still a tiny long shot. At 2 on 7, 5 minutes, that easing says the market's at least pricing a little more. Late game noise if Canada can finally turn pressure into a goal. Switzerland are still priced around the high teens to win, but Canada's just scored, and you can see the draw probability jump into the high teens while Canada stays a long shot. At 2, 1 on 7, 6 minutes, one more Canada goal is the equalizer. That really forces this market to reprice. Switzerland are still trading around the highs to win, but the draw has firmed into the lows. After that Canada strike, while Canada themselves remain a tiny price. At 2 and 7 TH, the market's basically saying Switzerland just need to manage the clock and avoid gifting the equalizer.
77 minutes, and it's another corner for Canada conceded by Sylvain Widmer. This is exactly the kind of set-piece pressure that keeps Switzerland honest at 2-1. The delivery here has to be sharp because one clean first contact and suddenly this game is on a knife edge.
Switzerland are still priced around the highs to win with the draw, holding in the lows, and Canada stuck in the low single digits. So the markets stabilized after that goal. At 2-1 on 7-8 minutes, Switzerland's job is simple: slow it down, win the next duel, and don't concede that equalizer. Switzerland are holding about 3/4 to win with the draw near 1/5, and Canada still a single-digit long shot, so the post-goal wobble has stabilized rather than snowballed. At 2-1 in the 7-8H, that's the market backing Switzerland to see out Canada's push without conceding the equalizer.
79 minutes gone, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and you can feel the temperature rising around those stoppages and the treatment protocol. In a one-goal game this late, every time the ref stops it and makes a player step off, it's a massive swing in rhythm and bench emotions. Free kick Canada on the right wing, Jonathan David Bison, and Michel Abish is late to the challenge there. At 2-1 in the 7-9 TS, this is exactly the kind of wide set piece Canada can whip into a crowded box and ask Switzerland to win that first header. 79 minutes, Switzerland lead, Canada 2-1, and Promise David's goal has absolutely flipped the mood. Canada look like they believe again. Now every wide free kick and corner is a mini crisis for Switzerland because Canada will keep stacking that 6-yard box and hunting second balls. 79 minutes, Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and you can see Canada's tweaks have given them a real target in the middle now. Expect every wide free kick to be bent into that 6-yard corridor, and Switzerland have to win the first header. No second chances, no late scramble.
Switzerland still priced around 3/4 to win with a draw, holding near a 5th, and Canada down at roughly 3%. So the post-goal shakeout has basically steadied. At 2-1 in the 7-9 TH, Canada's next goal is the equalizer. That flips this from clock management into real chaos. Switzerland's win chance is still sitting around 3/4 with a draw near a quarter.
Freuler wins Switzerland a free kick deep in his own half at 7-9 on 80 minutes. Murat Yakin makes a change. Dan Nadoya is on for Ruben Mafez. That's fresh legs up top with Switzerland 2-1 ahead, and it also takes off the man who scored that opener. 80 minutes gone, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and Murat Yakin has just thrown on Dan Nadoya for Ruben Vargas. That's a clear move to get fresh legs into the front line and help Switzerland relieve this Canadian set-piece squeeze by holding the ball higher up.
Switzerland still priced at roughly 3/4 to win, with the draw around the lows and Canada near 3%, so it's steady rather than a fresh late swing. At 80 minutes and 2-1, that tells you the market's backing Switzerland to manage the clock and survive this set-piece pressure. Switzerland is still priced around 3/4 to win with the draw, about 1/5, and Canada down near 2%. So the market's basically steady rather than panicking. At 80 minutes and 2-1, it's telling you Switzerland just need to see out this last Canadian push without conceding the equalizer.
81 minutes on the clock, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and you can sense Canada turning every restart into a proper aerial test. The next delivery into that 6-yard corridor is all about who wins the first header. Switzerland can't afford a loose second ball here.
Switzerland is still priced at roughly 3/4 to win, with the draw just over 1/5 in Canada, around 3%, so there's no fresh panic in the market. At 8, 1 minute and 2-1, it's basically saying Switzerland can ride out this spell if they keep winning first contacts on those Canadian deliveries.
Foul by Nathan Saliba on 8-0 minutes, and Switzerland win the free kick deep in their own half with the clock at 8-1 and the Swiss leading Canada 2-1. That's exactly the kind of cheap stoppage Switzerland will happily take. Now slow it down, get bodies up, and make Canada reset their press. 82 minutes gone, Switzerland still lead, Canada 2-1, and you can feel Canada trying to turn every little touch into a corner, a card, anything to keep the pressure alive. In these last minutes, that constant appealing can crank up the crowd and make every restart feel like a set-piece chance. 82 minutes, Switzerland lead, Canada 2-1, and Breel Embolo wins a free kick in the attacking half. That is gold for the Swiss right now. He's used his body brilliantly there to pin the defender and buy his team a breather up the pitch.
Switzerland are still priced in the highs to win, with the draw just over 1/5 in Canada, down around 2%, so it's basically unchanged despite that lopsided sell side depth. At 8, 2 minutes and 2-1, the market's saying Switzerland just need to keep the ball upfield and bleed the clock.
83 minutes gone, Switzerland still lead, Canada 2-1, and Canada keeping two center forwards high is forcing Switzerland into proper 1-1 defending at the back. It's less about building through midfield now and more about who wins that first duel and who can play the quicker, more direct ball forward. 83 minutes, Switzerland still lead, Canada 2-1, and that Diageo Vargas change feels like pure energy. 82 minutes and Breel Embolo wins Switzerland a free kick in the attacking half. That's a massive release foul with Switzerland leading Canada 2-1. And at 8-3, Canada roll the dice. Jacob Schaffelberg is on for Richie Leway, adding pure pace for those direct runs in behind. 83 minutes, Switzerland lead, Canada 2-1, and Canada have thrown on Jacob Schaffelberg to add pure pace for this late push. You can feel the crowd rise with every restart now, but Switzerland will be delighted anytime Embolo or Ndoye can win a foul and drag the game upfield.
With the live book missing, the only clear signal is flow. There are chunky buys leading Switzerland, with some trimming and a bit of draw interest, but nothing that screams a fresh reprice. At 8, 3 minutes and 2-1, it still reads like protect the lead territory unless Canada land that equalizer.
83 minutes, Switzerland lead, Canada 2-1, and Canada's late push looks really direct now. Get it forward early and back. They're 1v1 runners, especially with Schaffelberg's pace on. For Switzerland, it's about winning that first duel, then finding Ndoye or the wide outlet to breathe.
Switzerland are still priced around an 8-0 win chance with Canada down near 2 and the draw just under 2-0, so it's basically steady rather than a late wobble. At 8 3 minutes and 2-1, that's the market saying Switzerland just need to manage stoppages and avoid one clean Canadian equalizer. Switzerland are now trading around an 8-0 win chance with the draw just under 2-0 and Canada basically written off. So the market's leaning even harder to the home side as we hit the last 5 minutes. At 2-1 and 8-5, Canada need one clean equalizer to blow this open, but the pricing says time is Switzerland's best defender.
At 8 minutes, Switzerland lead, Canada 2-1, and that late double change is screaming. 85 minutes and Switzerland make a late double change with the score 2-1. Christian Fasnacht is on for Johan Manzamis, and Cedric Iden replaces Breel Embolo. That's Rex Legs and a more direct reference point up top trying to pin Canada back and take the sting out of these final deliveries.
Switzerland are now priced in the low buttons to win with a draw in the high teens, and Canada down around 2%. So it's a firm hold rather than any late wobble. At 8, 5 minutes and 2-1, that's the market betting Switzerland's game management seizes out without conceding the equalizer. Switzerland's win price is holding in the low bosses. The draw sits in the mid-teens, and Canada is basically a 1% punt. So there's no late wobble showing up. At 5 minutes with Switzerland 2-1 up, that's the market backing these fresh legs and stoppage control to shut the door. With the live book missing, the only read is flow, and it's still heavy Switzerland leaning with a couple of notable trims and some draw positioning rather than a clear, late reprice. At 8-6 minutes at 2-1, that lines up with Switzerland trying to manage territory and stop Canada finding one equalizer. Switzerland still priced in the low boss to win with the draw in the high teens in Canada. Basically a 1 to 2% long shot, so it's steady rather than a late wobble. At 8-7 minutes and 2-1, that says the market expects Switzerland's game management to kill the clock and avoid the equalizer.
Switzerland still lead our Canada 2-1 at 8-7 minutes, and those late changes are pure shut-the-door football. With Eden as the reference point, they're looking to hold it up, win the foul, and make Canada run back 3-0 yards before they can launch the next push. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1 at 8-7 minutes, and Canada are clearly trying to suffocate Granit Xhaka to break Switzerland's midfield rhythm. If that forces the Swiss to go long, these last few minutes could come down to who wins the first header and the second ball.
Switzerland still priced in the mid-bases to win with the draw in the mid-teens in Canada, basically a 1% flyer, so the market's staying calm into the close. At 8-7 minutes up 2-1, that implies Switzerland just need to keep territory and avoid one late Canadian equalizer.
87 minutes, Canada win the corner of Manuela Angie, but then Liam Millard gives away the foul on the follow-up, and he's also gone into the book. That's a huge release for Switzerland. The A's bought them a defensive half free kick in precious seconds off the clock at 2-1. 87 minutes and Liam Millard goes into the book for Canada for a bad foul, and now at 8-8 he's won a free kick deep in his own half as Ricardo Rodriguez clips him late. That's exactly the kind of stoppage Switzerland will want with a 2-1 lead, heat the ball away from their box and let the clock bleed.
Switzerland are still priced in the mid-basses to win with the draw in the mid-teens in Canada, basically a 1% punt, so there's no late wobble despite that heavy sell-side depth. At 8 minutes up, 2-1, the market's saying Switzerland just need to run the clock and not give Canada an equalizer.
89 minutes and Canada win a free kick deep in their own half as Cedric Eden clips Lou Dufour. Switzerland won't mind that stoppage at 2-1, but they've got to be careful. One needless foul and Canada can sling it straight back into the danger area.
Switzerland are still priced in the mid-bashes to win. With the draw in the mid-teens in Canada, basically a 1% long shot, so there's no late wobble despite that lopsided sell-side depth. At 8-9 minutes with Switzerland up 2-1, the market's screaming don't concede the equalizer on the next Canadian set piece.
9 minutes, Switzerland lead Canada 2-1, and Canada have another free kick to load the box after Itten's foul on their Fuzeralis. You can see the idea. Suffocate Xhaka, win the second ball, and turn every restart into one more delivery. Switzerland have to head clear and reset. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1 at 8-9 minutes, and Canada had that free kick to turn into one. Last big direct moment. If you're Canada, you load the box and hunt the second ball. If you're Switzerland, it's first contact, no bounce, and get your line back out fast. At 9 minutes, it's Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and this is absolutely the moment for Canada to go direct from every restart. Stop the cue shot in, sling it into the mixer, and hunt the second ball. Switzerland just need one clean first header and a step out to kill it.
Switzerland still trading in the mid-volley win range with the draw, mid-teens in Canada, basically a 1% ticket, so the pricing hasn't flinched at the death. At 9 minutes and 2-1, that's the market daring Canada to find one last equalizer from a direct delivery.
89 minutes and Canada win a free kick on the right wing. Michel Aebischer, the one who's clipped Jonathan David. This is prime territory to whip it into the corridor of uncertainty. Switzerland have to hold their line, win that first header, and get out fast.
Switzerland still priced in the mid-basins to win with the draw in the mid-teens in Canada, basically at 1%, so the market's staying rock steady, right on 9-0. At 2-1, that tells you traders expect Switzerland to survive this last Canadian delivery without conceding the equalizer.
Switzerland lead Canada 2-1 in stoppage time at 9:01. And for Canada, every restart has to be a straight ugly ball into the area. No more short routines, just bodies attacking the second ball. Switzerland's job is simple now. Win first contact, use that smart leverage, and get the line stepping out together. Switzerland lead Canada 2-1 at 9:01, and Canada have to make every set piece brutally but direct. Now stick it long, flood the box, and gamble on the second ball. Switzerland's backline are doing the basics perfectly. Body in early, stop the run-up, and make those late headers powerless. 90+1 in Canada goes so close. Derek Cornelius meets Johnson's cross with a pre-header from the right side of the 6-yard box, but he steers it just wide of the far post. That's the chance. Switzerland cannot afford to give up again as they cling to this 2-1 lead. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1 at 9:02, and that latest hidden foul is another invitation for Canada to go straight into the mixer. No more short routines now. Load the box, attack the first contact, and gamble hard on the second ball before Switzerland can step out and breathe. Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1 at 9:02, and Canada's deliveries are getting closer and closer to asking the decisive question. But the Swiss are managing it with those tiny defensive details. Get tight early, lean into the runner, win first contact, and make the clearance clean. 90+3, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and you can feel Canada turning every restart into one last direct launch into the box. For Switzerland, it's pure survival. Football now, win that first header, cleanly get bodies out, and don't gift a cheap foul in a dangerous lane.
Switzerland's win line has jumped into the lower range now with the draw, down to roughly 6%, and Canada effectively priced out. At 9:03, with Canada forcing headers on goal, it's still one clean Swiss clearance away from locking this.
90+3, and Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and Canada have just forced another point-blank header that Summer has had to save. That's the pattern now. One more cross, one more lead, and Switzerland just praying for one clean clearance and no silly foul.
Switzerland are now priced around a 9-0 win chance with the draw, roughly 1-0, and Canada basically shut out. So the market's leaning hard to the home side, seeing this through. At 9:04, up 2-1, it's screaming one last Swiss clearance and no cheap foul to avoid the equalizer.
90+4, Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and Canada are turning everything into long throws and hanging crosses, just begging for one loose second ball to drop kindly. Switzerland's defending is all about the details now. Early contact, smart body shape, and no free header at the back post.
Switzerland are now priced in the mid-serves to win with the draw, down around 6%, and Canada effectively at 0. So the market's basically calling it. At 9:04, with Switzerland up 2-1, Canada need one last perfect ball into the box to force that equalizer. Switzerland's win price is now pinned in the mid-jaw range with the draw down around 4%, and Canada effectively 0. So the market's treating this as nearly settled. At 9:04 and 2-1, it's basically out the last clearance territory for the Swiss. Switzerland is now priced in the mid-zoo range to win with the draw down around 5%, and Canada effectively 0. So the market's treating this as nearly settled. At 9:05, with Switzerland up 2-1, it's all about one last defensive action to avoid a stoppage time equalizer.
Switzerland are still 2-1 up at 9:05, and Canada's only play now is that long throw or early ball, dumped right into the 6-yard box. Danger as the second ball, Switzerland have to win first contact and step out together. No loose ricochet, no cheap foul.
Switzerland is effectively priced in the mid-jaw range to win. Now with the drawdown around low single digits, and Canada basically shut out. At 9:05 and 2-1, that's the market saying Switzerland just need one clean clearance to avoid the equalizer.
90+6, and Switzerland still lead Canada 2-1, and Canada are just pumping long throws and crosses into the mixer, hunting that one messy bounce. Switzerland have to defend with their hands down and their feet set because every bit of contact is getting screamed at, even if the referee's waving it on.
Switzerland is now essentially fully priced to win, with Canada in a draw, marked down to near zero, and the buy side stacked at certain levels. At 9:06, up 2-1, it's basically waiting for the whistle, unless Canada land one final perfect ball into the box.
90 plus 6, Switzerland still lead. Canada 2-1, and Canada are launching absolutely everything into that 6-yard corridor now. It's turning into pure wrestling at the near post in the penalty spot, and Switzerland's defenders have to keep their arms clean because the next appeal will be deafening. 90 plus 6, and Switzerland still lead. Canada 2-1, and Gregor Kobel has just produced 2 huge saves. First clawing away Johnston's header, then smothering Promet David from point-blank range. And now Cornelius gives away the foul, so Switzerland get that precious defensive free kick to bleed the final seconds.
Switzerland is now fully priced as a locked winner, with Canada and the draw effectively at 0 and the buy side sitting at certain levels. At 9:06 and 2-1, that tells you the market thinks this defensive free kick is the final drain of the clock. Switzerland is now priced as a done deal, with the win line effectively at certainty, and both Canada and the draw sitting at 0 with no real bid support. With the whistle bot at 9:07 and it finishing 2-1, that market's already treating this as settled. Switzerland is now effectively at 1-0-0 with the bid stacked as certain, while Canada and the draw sit at 0 with only offers and no bid support. Full time at 2-1 means this is locked in. It's just settlement mechanics from here, not late drama.
Full-time Switzerland 2, Canada 1, and that late Canadian surge finally had real bite. Direct balls, long throws, and bodies crashing the 6-yard box. But Switzerland managed the chaos brilliantly, and Gregor Kobel's brave stoppage time save slammed the door when it mattered most. All time at 9:07, Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and Canada's best spell arrived when they finally went direct. Long throws, early crosses, and bodies flooding the 6-yard box. But Switzerland managed to clock into contact, and Kobel's late saves were the difference between relief and heartbreak. Full time at 9:0 plus 7, Switzerland 2, Canada 1. Canada had those late headers and point-blank looks, but Gregor Kobel stood tall, and Switzerland did just enough to see out the chaos in their own box. Full-time Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and you could already feel the Canadian frustration with those late aerial scraps in the box. There was contact and a bit of shirt tugging, but the referee set the tone to let it go, and in a one-goal game, that's the debate that won't die. Full time at 9:07, Switzerland 2, Canada 1, and Canada's best spell came when it turned frantic and direct right at the end. But Switzerland were ready for the press and cross chaos, managed the contact in the box, and Kobel's late interventions made sure it was too little, too late. Full time at 9:07, Switzerland 2, Canada 1. Canada finally found real danger with those late crosses and close-range headers, but Gregor Kobel's handling under pressure was the difference in the end. Full time at 9:07, Switzerland 2, Canada 1. Canada's late aerial barrage finally created real chances, but Gregor Kobel stood up to everything in that 6-yard area, and Switzerland see it out under heavy pressure. Full-time Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and that late Canadian switch to direct balls and bodies in the 6-yard box finally made Switzerland look uncomfortable. The question is why? It took until stoppage time for that urgency, because once Johnston and Schaffelberg were slinging crosses in, Kobel had to win the match with his hands. Full-time at 9:07, Switzerland 2, Canada 1, and it's Switzerland who hold on. Canada's last gasp headers in that point-blank scramble all ran into Gregor Kobel, who made the saves that turned late pressure into heartbreak. Full-time Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and you can't escape that feeling. Canada only truly looked dangerous once. It got frantic in stoppage time. When Johnson and Schaffelberg started firing crosses and Switzerland's shape finally bent, but Kobel's hands held the line. Full time at 9:07, Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and it's Switzerland who take it. Canada threw everything at it with those late crosses and close-range headers, but Gregor Kobel's saves in the 6-yard box were absolutely decisive. Full-time Switzerland 2-1 Canada, and that's a win built on control as much as quality. Switzerland never let Canada's press turn into a track meet, and when it did get frantic late on call bells, calm hands shut the door.